Hello, my name is Larry Belfield, and welcome to the show. Today, we're going to have to do this episode 7 again because it didn't work out, which is the beginning of real estate. This is really about the Louisiana Purchase, and I'm going to try to go over this fairly quickly. Okay, so where do we begin? Real estate begins with the first ever recorded real estate transaction, the Louisiana Purchase. France had laid claim to all land beyond the 13 colonies founded by King James I. Now that's the same king that created and mass printed the Bible, King James. Now France had claim on all land, bays, and estuaries connected to the Mississippi. However, only about 5,000 settlers ever recorded to be in the Americas that came from France. Now most of their colonies moved to North Canada. So in 1700, France sold its claim of America to the colonies, which is now known as the United States. In short, this is your answer. So thank you for joining me. My name is Larry Belfield, and this has been the Belfield Show. No, that's not the end. Now, trust me, I know there's a plethora of questions running through your mind. It's a hurricane, like I said before. It's going through your head. However, before we can create a legitimate question to this answer of where real estate began, we need to see how this sale of property became the entirety of real estate. We must first learn how land and property was distributed before this. You see, this world is thousands, if not millions of years old. So the first question is, what were we doing before the Louisiana Purchase? Now, most of the advanced world lived in a fiefdom. Now, a fief is land that's owned by the king. So we're in a kingdom. Now, we as subjects to the king are granted the right to deal and service the land for the king. Now, if we as stewards of the land do well with the estate, like if you make a big castle or if you defend the kingdom, the land will be held in your family's name or those closely connected to you, maybe for generations. Now, even the 13 colonies were here in the name of the king. So if we acquire land by lease and we don't actually own the land, how do you get land? For as far back as I can research in history, there has been kings. Okay, now we have very little information about civilizations before rulers, before kings. Only civilizations with government systems as strong as kingdoms have enough size and reach to leave evidence of their existence behind that remain to this day. So the next question in my mind is, how long has there been kings? When did they begin? But to my surprise, the first language ever devised was in the first civilization, which is Mesopotamia, which is modern Iraq today, about 5,000 years BC. Now, trying to find out the origin of the kings was eye-opening. All of our knowledge proves that we started in Africa through excavation, historical documentation, hospitals, schools, and religious texts, stories, fables, and good guessing. We have tracked down the origins of most all our world. Now, there are far more people and furthermore events that have taken place to get us here. However, this is as far back as I have been able to go. Now, scientists have tracked our ancestry down through the ages to about 10 kings, and one of which is King Solomon. Like I said, our history goes further back than this. There are far more kings and kingdoms. However, this is what we have physical proof of. So it begs the question, if for all we know is kings and land, how did we get here? Meaning, how do kingdoms acquire land? In most cases, they negotiate for it. However, in years of late, we can see that negotiations can get aggressive. Our world is full of instances where the nations and peoples can be aggressive toward one another, where innocence is hurt and lost. So if kingdoms acquire new land by negotiating, this is how real estate really began, by peaceably working together to make an arrangement for the value and sale of the land. Fair trade. So this is also the end of our show, right? This is the end of our investigation. We negotiate for land like kings. Except back when kings owned it, we couldn't really personally own it. So that's it. We're done, right? I'm Larry Belfield, and I'd like to thank you for joining me on the Belfield Show. All right. Now, there's one question. There's only one question in my mind. Where does war start? Now, the human race has always had conflict. However, for conflict to be the size of a war, it must be one state against another. See, it takes a large force to take over a city-sized population, so we'll use this as a reference. Not an expanding kingdom that may wipe out a village or two to increase its own, but we will classify a war as one city-sized population taking over another. Now, the first recorded war was over the territories in and around the time of Egypt. Now, since this is so far back in time, I will have to keep correlating the times and events and eras to help you understand where we are in time. Now, during most of my investigation, I used three main tools for finding evidence. YouTube, Google, which I refer to as Google, are mainly used for documentaries, and I used Wikipedia. All of my findings, you will be able to go back and do further research and on all the topics I cover. So one of the first things I looked up was the entire propagation of mankind. This shows the spread of mankind from the earliest recorded history until now. So in the next episode, I will begin to journey through the evolution of mankind to find the simple truth of realty. I thank you for joining me. This is the Belfield Show, the Louisiana Purchase, and I thank you for joining me. I would like you to like, comment, share, subscribe, and post. Let everybody you know. Okay? My name is Larry Belfield. Thank you for joining me on the Belfield Show.